All right, so we're diving into the future of electrical contracting, specifically what's coming up in 2025. And let me tell you, from the looks of these articles we dug up, things are about to get interesting.
Yeah, interesting might be an understatement.
Right, we're not just talking about a few minor changes here and there.
Not at all. This is looking like a total industry makeover.
Yeah.
And the driving forces, everything from like government regulations and what's happening with the environment to what customers are demanding these days.
So we're not just electricians anymore, we're like the energy gurus?
Basically, I mean, think about it. Remember when solar panels were like, this niche thing with those tax breaks, right? Now we're seeing entire cities, even whole regions, saying new buildings have to be all electric.
Wow.
And get this, it's not just new construction. They're talking about retrofitting old buildings too.
Yeah.
That's a whole different ballgame.
Huge. And with everyone talking about going electric cars have got to be part of this, right? One article mentioned EV charging stations, like exploding in popularity.
For sure. But here's the thing, it's not just about installing the charging stations. The smart contractors, they're going to be offering the whole package, sustainable and everything. Solar-powered charging with battery backups built right in.
Now that's thinking ahead. One article even suggested teaming up with car dealerships or like real estate developers
Oh, yeah.
to lock in those long-term contracts for installing EV chargers.
Long-term contracts, that's the dream. But with all this opportunity comes a big challenge that I bet you're already familiar with.
You mean?
The electrician shortage, it's everywhere, and these articles don't sugarcoat it.
It's true. I think it was that 2025 Electrical Trends report. They had this wild chart.
Yeah.
Showed how the gap between qualified electricians and the actual need for them is just getting bigger every year.
Exactly. And it's not just the number of electricians, it's also what they need to know how to do. Smart systems, renewable energy, all this new tech, we need a workforce that's actually trained for this stuff.
So what can we do? The articles threw out a few ideas. Training up the electricians we already have, getting new people interested, maybe even using automation more.
All good strategies. Think of it this way. A well-trained workforce isn't just filling a gap, it's what gives you an edge. You're the contractor who can handle all those in-demand services. You're the one people are going to call.
Right, it just makes sense. Apprenticeships seem to be a hot topic too. I guess it's a good way to bring in fresh faces and train them in exactly what's needed down the line.
Absolutely. Solves the pipeline problem, and you get
Yeah.
to mold the next generation. And honestly, this isn't your grandpa's electrical work. This is high tech, it's green, it's all about keeping up with the latest and greatest.
And speaking of high-tech smart homes and the Internet of Things, those seem to be in every single article. It's like the whole industry is doing digital.
And there's a good reason for it. It's not about following trends, it's about efficiency, having data to back up your decisions, and keeping up with clients who are tech savvy themselves.
It's wild. We're talking lights that adjust based on if someone's in the room, systems that manage your energy use, even homes that know what you need before you do, like something straight out of the future.
It's becoming less future and more everyday reality, honestly. But with all these interconnected systems, there's something super important that one article brought up that I think often gets missed. Cybersecurity.
Oh, right. All those cool interconnected systems could be a problem if they're not secure.
Exactly. If you can be the one who gets that, who prioritizes cybersecurity, especially for those big clients with sensitive data, you're bringing something really valuable to the table. Shows you're not just installing the latest gadgets, you're thinking about the whole picture, the risks too.
So you're not just a tech expert, you're a risk manager too.
Precisely. And speaking of a changing landscape, another trend popping up is prefabrication and modular construction.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
a bunch of the articles mentioned that it's becoming more and more common. How does that even work for electricians?
It's a whole new way of working. Instead of doing everything on site, we're talking pre-built parts, using BIM software for design, and making installation faster and more efficient.
So you're not just adapting to new tech on the job, you're adapting to a whole new way of building.
Exactly. And the numbers show it. One source said that prefabrication and modular construction are both going to explode in popularity by 2025. This is a train that's only picking up speed.
So if you want to succeed in the future, you can't run away from technology. You got to embrace it, become an expert in these new ways of doing things.
Couldn't have said it better myself. But it's more than just the tech itself. It's knowing what it means, the opportunities it brings, and even the potential problems that come with it.
It's a lot to process.
It is.
Yeah.
And we're just scratching the surface. In part 2 of this deep dive, we're going to go even deeper into these trends and see what you can do to stay ahead of the curve.
You know, looking back at all these changes we've talked about, it really feels like being an electrician is going way beyond knowing how to wire a building.
Yeah, it's a whole new ballgame.
It's like they're becoming energy consultants, guiding people through this whole new world.
You got it, and that's something that popped up a lot in the research. The more complicated things get, the more clients are going to want someone who can not only handle the technical stuff, but tell them what the best solution is for their needs.
And speaking of solutions, we can't talk about the future of energy without mentioning renewables. Solar panels seem obvious, but what else is out there?
Well, solar's definitely sticking around, but one of the biggest things for 2025 and beyond is energy storage. As more homes and businesses switch to solar or wind, they'll need ways to save that energy, especially when everyone's using a lot of power, like during those peak hours when the grid is stressed.
So instead of relying on the grid, when the sun sets or the wind stops, they can have their own backup power,
Right.
like a giant battery for their house or business.
Exactly. And it's not just about how much energy you have, it's about when you can use it. And that's where these large battery systems come in, especially lithium-ion batteries.
Those were everywhere in the articles. What's so special about them?
Well, for when, they're really good at storing and releasing energy. Way better than older batteries. They last longer, need less maintenance, and are getting cheaper all the time.
So the tech is finally catching up to the need for storing clean energy.
Exactly. And for electrical contractors, this is a huge opportunity. Imagine, you could offer the whole package. Solar panels, wind turbines, and this cutting-edge battery system. You're not just installing stuff, you're providing a complete energy solution.
It's like a one-stop shop for all their energy needs.
Exactly.
And speaking of wind power, one article said that while it's more common in those big projects, smaller wind turbines for homes and businesses are getting more popular.
That's right. As the tech gets better and cheaper, more businesses and even homeowners are considering it, especially those who want to rely less on the grid or who live in windy areas.
So knowing about both solar and wind installations will be really important for electricians who want to stay on top of things.
Absolutely. And this goes back to what we were saying about the electrician shortage and needing to learn new skills. You need electricians who are up to date on the latest in renewable energy, energy storage, and even things like smart grid integration.
We're not just talking about basic electrical work anymore. It's a whole other level.
Yeah.
One article called it the rise of the energy smart electrician.
I like that.
It's a cool way to put it.
Yeah, it is. And to find enough skilled workers, the articles had some interesting ideas, like those apprenticeship programs we mentioned. But it's not just about teaching the technical stuff. It's about making sure they understand energy efficiency, sustainability, and why these new technologies are important.
So you're not just training electricians, you're creating a new generation who really care about this stuff.
Exactly. And the good news is there's help. Some articles mentioned government grants and tax breaks to help businesses with training their workers. So contractors who invest in their employees' education can get some financial help.
Now that's a win-win. Contractors get the skilled workers,
Yeah.
and the employees get the training and opportunities to move up.
Exactly. And as we keep looking at these trends, one question keeps coming up. What other skills will be needed to succeed in this quickly changing industry?
That's a great question, and one we'll be diving into in part 3 of this deep dive. It's amazing how everything we've been talking about kind of connects together.
Yeah.
Like we talked about prefabrication and modular construction, becoming more and more common,
Yeah,
and how that changes the way electricians have to work.
for sure.
But then there's this whole other thing with BIM software.
Right.
The articles kept mentioning that.
Absolutely, yeah.
Like it's essential.
It is.
Okay.
That's for sure.
So for those of us who aren't exactly tech geniuses,
Right.
could you break down what BIM software actually does and why it's such a big deal for electrical contractors,
Yeah.
especially with everyone moving towards, prefabrication?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So basically, imagine being able to walk through a building before it's even built.
Okay. And see the entire electrical system, every outlet, every wire laid out in front of you.
Wow.
That's basically what BIM lets you do. It's like having a 3D digital copy of the building where you can plan everything out, design it, and even see how the electrical system will work.
So it's not just a blueprint, it's like a working model
Yeah,
that
exactly.
everyone on the project can use and work with.
100%. The architects, the engineers, the electricians, they can all work together in this virtual space, and they can catch any potential problems early on before they even step foot on the job site.
And that's especially important with prefabrication, right?
Huge. Yeah.
Where everything has to be so precise.
It's essential. Yeah, with prefabrication, BIM becomes even more important.
Got it. So you're basically eliminating the guesswork,
Exactly.
which means fewer mistakes, less waste, faster installations. It all just makes sense.
Yeah.
And saves money in the end, I imagine.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
It all sounds incredibly futuristic.
It is. But with all this high-tech stuff, how do you bring the client into the loop?
Right.
Like someone who might not be as familiar with technology, how do you explain it all to them?
Well, that's a great question, and communication is key in this new environment, right?
Yeah.
Being able to take all those technical terms and put them into plain English that anyone can understand,
Yeah.
explaining the benefits of these new technologies, that's so crucial. Yeah, if you're a contractor.
So it's about trust, really.
Yeah, it is.
Showing them that you're not just there to install a bunch of wires and panels,
Yeah,
but to really understand their needs
for sure.
and provide solutions that work for them
Exactly.
and help them reach their goals.
100%.
And this whole idea of clear communication with the client
Yeah,
becomes even more important with those green building certifications, right?
right.
Which seem to be getting more and more popular.
They are.
The articles mention LE and WELL certifications quite a
A
bit.
lot, yeah.
So how do those fit in for electrical contractors?
Yeah, so as sustainability becomes like the main focus, these certifications, they're not just a nice bonus anymore.
Right.
They're a major factor in those real estate decisions.
Right.
And building owners are realizing that a light or well-certified building, it's attractive to tenants.
Right, yeah.
It increases the value of the property, and it can even lower those operating costs.
So it's good for business all around.
100%, yeah.
So for an electrical contractor, knowing about these certifications
Yeah.
and how to help their clients get them, that's a big selling point.
Huge selling point, absolutely, yeah. It shows that they're partners in sustainability,
Okay.
experts who not only know how to do the electrical work, but also like get the requirements of these green building practices and the benefits.
So it's like they're becoming fluent in the language of sustainability,
Exactly.
which is becoming just as important as, knowing how to install a light switch.
100%, yeah. It really is, yeah.
It's fascinating. So much has changed in the electrical contracting industry,
It has.
and so much more is going to change.
Absolutely.
But one thing is clear. The opportunities are huge for those who are willing to adapt, learn, and
Embrace it.
embrace the future. And there you have it.